Hey folks, Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man at your festive undead services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very, very well. Now, we've got some news, some breaking undead news. Return of the Living Dead. 1985, one of the best horror comedies ever made, alongside American Werewolf, Young Frankenstein, Carry On Screaming, and many others. It took a little offshoot from Night of the Living Dead, which I've covered a lot on the channel, of course, you guys know. And I've covered Return of the Living Dead a lot on the channel as well. But hey, it spawned, what, 4 sequels? The second one was a watered down version and was not that good at all, I didn't think. The third one kind of broke new ground. It was very sadomasochistic and was quite sexy and kind of out there, but ultra low budget. And then there was 2 more, Necropolis and Rave from the Grave, and who gives a shit about those? But we've got a new one coming out. Not right now, Christmas next year. And I'm filming this at Christmas 2024. This is going to come out Christmas 2025. And the teaser dropped a couple days ago. It dropped on Friday the 13th December 2024. Which is brilliant. And what was the trailer? The teaser, not trailer, the teaser. It was Tarman. That guy there, the Tarman. A cemetery, blizzard stricken, snow everywhere. The gates open by some kind of black magic. They open and we see a shambling, dripping. Well, he's not dripping because all his drips have been frozen by the blizzard. But he's carrying behind him a Christmas tree with the lights on. Hang on a second. I have forgotten what to do. There you go. The Tarman, the lit up Christmas tree. I was going to do this video coming in, wearing the mask and trying to do the walk. Alan Troutman played the Tarman. Alan Troutman. Not any relation to Samuel Troutman from First Blood and Rambo and all that. Nothing to do with him. And I was going to try and do that. And I thought, oh, how am I going to work it out? Because I've only got the mask, I can't do the body, but I could do the walk. And then I thought, ah, fuck it, let's just drink whiskey instead. And that's what I did. So anyway, the trailer is this guy, not Alan Troutman. He's not doing it this time around, he's too old for it now. He's a Jim Henson puppeteer. And brilliant, character, sort of creature actor, making a puppet come to life. Did a Muppet Show, did lots of Jim Henson productions, and obviously this guy originally, whose head gets taken off with a baseball bat. Boof! So, but he came back in like part 2, and he came back again in other versions, but it's just basically canisters of Trioxin, 245 Trioxin, or 246, whatever it is. Brings back the dead, and they've got them sealed up in units all around the country. And Night of the Living Dead, George Romero's original Night of the Living Dead, is the catalyst for this. John Russo and Russell Striner and George Romero wrote Night of the Living Dead. I've discussed all of this many times, and let's not go into all the politics behind it, but basically they split. So George Romero could have anything, the way that worked out, he could make movies with just not the living dead in the title, but carry on his story. So it's Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Diary, Survival, blah 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 blah. That's the way it went on. But John Russo, oh no, I can retain the titles, the rights to the title, The Living Dead. So he has this offshoot. And of course, what, 5 movies there, starting in 85, Dan O'Bannon's Return of the Living Dead. An anarchic proto-punk zombie mashup. I've reviewed it. It's a magnificent movie. A horror comedy. It's bizarre. It's out there. It's great. A fabulous soundtrack with great, bits of music there, and the score. I'm playing the score to it right now, but the score's barely in there. It's mainly the songs which are in there. Effects are great, and brains. A lot of people out these days think like, oh, zombies eat brains, but we all know that was only from Return of the Living Dead. The brains was the thing. Send more paramedics. George Romero's stuff was like these enough off the body to fulfill their dietary needs, and then what's left behind can still rise and do more damage. Just join the ranks of the undead. So Return of the Living Dead was a huge success, spawning several sequels, as we know, which were all of much lesser success. And now, many years later, after much lawsuits and litigation, we have a new, not a reboot, not a sequel, not a sequel, not a prequel, not a remake. It's another story in the Return of the Living Dead franchise. Now, this is going to, like Halloween, the David Gordon Green. Oh God, I've said his name. How many of you guys know I swore blind I'd never say that twat's name ever again? I've just done it. I'm sorry, I apologise. I wish I could pull my tongue out with pliers and fucking burn it. But yeah, this film, this new forthcoming movie in 2025, Christmas time 2025. So exactly a year from now, we're going to get Return of the Living Dead, the new version. Is it going to be called that? Is that the final title for it? I don't know. Will it be called just Return of the Living Dead 2025? Or Return of the Living Dead again? They rise again. Return of the Living Dead ... question mark. I don't know. Tarman is going to come sliming down your chimney, or like Chris Rea, sliming home for Christmas. There's loads you could do with it. But it's coming out Christmas time next year. The teaser dropped literally a couple days ago, Friday the 13th. Brilliant timing that. And all it shows is, I'll put a link to it in the description. All it shows is something resembling Tarman entering a snow and blizzard beset graveyard, shambling, shuffling, and carrying, because it's twined around him, a Christmas tree with lights upon it. There's Tarman, there's a Christmas tree with lights around it. He carries it, and then the extension lead obviously goes psh, and the lights go out, and it plays. It should be here. I've got it here. Blizzard. I'm not going to show you the trailer. You can watch it for yourselves. So Silent Night, Holy Night, in a really ghostly, ethereal, scary sort of version. He just shuffles along through the snow. And then I see the plug comes apart, winks out. And that's it. It's just a teaser. This will not be in the film. Teasers this far in advance are never in the movie. To be honest, if this was in the movie, I would like it, because it's really, really atmospheric. It's really like, wow. It shows you fuck all, because the film has not been made yet. It's done by a guy called, hang on a minute, I've just turned the music off. What did I do there? What a complete and utter doofus. Steve Wolsh does this movie. He's done 3 movies before. Muck, Kill Hair Goats, and The Fog City or something. And these are not massively loved movies. They are not. Bit of a shame that. And like, I know here's the Cramps with Surfing the Dead from the original Return of the Living Dead. This is genius, this. Genius. But a lot of people say like, well, maybe this guy is like, he knew after his first movie that he was going to be doing Return of the Living Dead. So he tried to rush out a few more movies to hone his directorial and writing and producing skills, because this guy, Steve Wolsh, is writing, producing and directing this movie. And he did that for the first 3 movies he's done. So he's like trying to get more experience, trying to hone my skills. I get that. That's okay. And I'll be honest, the teaser is interesting. It's set in a rural Pennsylvanian town 18 months after the first movie, Return of the Living Dead. So it ignores all the other movies, all the other sequels. And so the beleaguered townspeople are just, they're already cut off by a blizzard, and the living dead by a trioxin. Trioxin is the chemical which apparently, according to the first Return of the Living Dead, that's what caused the events of Night of the Living Dead. And they did it in a very sort of like clever sort of way. Oh, remember that those things happened in 1968? You know. Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah. Well, they're in the basements here. You know. It's clever. George Romero and John Russo was just trying to wrote Night of the Living Dead, and then they all split ways after that. So let's say Romero could have used the dead in his movies and done his own sequels, which of course he did. And John Russo could use the living dead, which is why you got Night of the Living Dead, then you got Dawn of the Dead, then Day of the Dead, and you think, well, where's the living part gone? That's why. So anyway, we have Return of the Living Dead. I'm not sure if this film is going to be actually genuinely called that, because, you know, I hate films that do that. You've had Suspiria, you know, you guys know how much I love Suspiria. Dario Argento's 76, 77, occult slasher epic, which I love that movie. And then of course it was remade, what, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, in a much expanded version of the original ideas. And it's great, it's a great movie in its own right, but is it really Suspiria? But, you know, I hate films like The Thing. The Thing prequel was just called The Thing. Fuck's sake, you know, just call it the Thing, the Norwegian style. You know, just don't call it the same fucking name as the film you're taking off. So I hope this film will have either like a subtitle, you know, so Return of the Living Dead Pennsylvania style. I think if I remember rightly, the first movie is set in, is it Kentucky? Is it a small town in Kentucky? Could be wrong there. I really could be wrong. The Oneida Medical Supply Depository. I think the cemetery right next door, but Trioxin is in there, which caused the undead outbreak to begin with. It's fucking genius. And you've got Ernie, the guy from the morgue. Oh my god, it's just fantastic. You know, it's not a bad question, but you know, it's brilliant stuff. And you got the punks and all that, like the most diverse group in an era now where everything's got to be like, oh, You can't say this, you can't say that. You've got to be bring everybody in to our crowd, and be diverse and multicultural and multi-sexual and multi-religional and all that kind of shit. Return of the Living Dead did that. Look at the gang of punks. You've got Suicide, who is basically, he's got chains up the wazoo and back, and he's the pure, fucking machismo punk. But then you've got, let's have a look. I wrote this down somewhere. Who else you got? You've got Freddie, who works in the his new job at the Oneida Medical Limb Depository, whatever you call it. And he's just like fucking, baseball cap wearing jock. You've got Bev Randolph playing Tina. That's his girlfriend. Tina's the lovely, the girl next door. Oh, she's gorgeous and like she's so cute. What you doing with him? He's a trucker basically, with no fucking aspirations or hopes. And then you've got Mark Venturi as Suicide. The chains and gets bitten on the bonds and his fucking brains go out everywhere. Like Brian Peck as Scuzz with a Mohican, fucking raw, and he's like, raw, we think you should. Yeah. Miguel Nunez, black guy playing Spider. So already you've got multi-racial group there. John Philbin as Chuck. What the fuck was he? A yuppie? He was a yuppie with a suit on and the big shoulders and all that, and a big flick. What? Why would he be with these guys? It wouldn't work out. And you had the girl he wanted, the girl that I fancied actually, Casey, played by Jules Shepard, who was lovely in the movie. A big bouffant sort of black gothic hairdo. I liked her a lot, and of course Linnea Quigley, Scream Queen, 80s and 90s par excellence as Trash. Trash is getting naked again, and she's outstanding, of course, that. They were a really bizarre, weird group. And then you had the likes of James Karen and Clu Gallagher, and did I fucking mention his name? Don Calfer playing Ernie, who's the mortician. And these are the older guys, and they've got to oh my god, these things are coming to life. Oh shit, what are we gonna do, Bert? What are we gonna do? Frank, it's your problem. Frank, you did this. You opened the canister, Frank. And they're all going ultra ballistic. The Tarman comes out, and other fucking, they've got half dogs and a yellowed corpse coming fucking legging it out, and they put a pickaxe through its skull, and it's still alive and howling in pain and wanting to eat brains, and they start soaring through its neck, and it's fucking genius. And then of course it rains and they incinerate the remains, but it goes out through the chimneys and infects the entire cemetery. The whole place gets nuked. The sequels just go off in different tangents. So this new version now, I've got no idea where it goes. A town beset in rural Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, of course, George Romero and Night of the Living Dead and his entire saga. Apart from Day of the Dead, which is set down in Florida. Lovely. But you're in a bunker most of the time, so you don't even notice the sun and the Everglades. That's not even there, hardly. But, so this is going to be nighttime, Christmas time, probably over one night, perhaps. Another Trioxin breakage takes place, and the dead will come back. I don't for one second think that the stuff you see of Tarman, played by Alan Troutman, I don't think you're going to see that in the movie. It'd be great if he did, but I don't think you're going to see that. It's a teaser. They haven't made the film yet, so they've just done this, and the fans are going, "It's Tarman! Oh wow!" And I love the bit, his stringy bits hanging off him, his slimy bits, because when they come out the canister, they're covered in this tar. That they've just become, I don't know, sedimented and it's just horrible in this ochre sort of shit, and so all this stuff's frozen in the snow, so it's hanging off him, and he's dragging a Christmas tree behind him, and they're playing Silent Night, and it is tremendously eerie. Now, what I will say is that sets a different tone for the film. The Silent Living Dead is very anarchic. It's very camp. It's very absolutely out there and funny. You can't take it seriously. They're pulling the heads off paramedics and responders, and and they're on walkie-talkies. Send more paramedics. Send more cops. Brains and all this kind of shit, like. And they've got the half corpse there as well. Very Bernie Wrightson. Very highly stylized. Very EC Comics. It does all this, and it does it really well. I have reviewed the film, sure I have, on the channel. I can't call the film scary, but it's horrific, but it's really hilarious at the same time, and I love the film to bits. The sequel's far less so. Now, the teaser for the new version, the tone struck by that is not hilarious, it's not funny. It's like, if you're in the know, you're going like, well, that's Tarman there. It may not be. Like 28 years later, everyone goes, oh, that's Cillian Murphy, that. As the emaciated infected comes up out of the shrubbery and the field behind Jodie Comer. It's there. And everyone's going like, that's him. That's Cillian Murphy. That's Jim. It isn't. It's another guy. And the guy who's come out and he's like Christian Bale in The Machinist. He's completely, his rib cage is exposed. He's completely fucking emaciated. And he got the part. So it's not Cillian Murphy. But whether it's meant to be Jim from the first, I don't fucking think so for 1 second. But like everyone's like, oh, he left on it. I didn't cover it because I thought, like, well, what's the point? I think you're all massively wrong about this. The trailer was a great trailer, and I'm looking forward to 28 years later. I don't really think it can spin out to another trilogy, which what we want to do, Danny Boyle and all that. I can't see it going much places beyond this movie. But hey, let it go. Because now we got this, Silent Living Dead as well. Where could that have gone afterwards, after being nuked? Well, yeah, other towns may have had canisters of Trioxin. So suddenly, wow, another outbreak could happen. And this film is set 18 months after the first movie. Silent Living Dead came out 85, but it's set slightly just before that. So 18 months afterwards is Christmas time, 1985. We have no idea who the casting is. Got no idea who's in this movie. It won't be Alan Troutman. I've checked, I've looked, and he's alive, but he's a puppeteer by and large, but an actor as well, as in puppet suits and like working creature designs. And I see them as doing that, like Jim Henson Productions. I can do this shit, And I don't think that's gonna be him in this. I think they just used that. But I do like that teaser. But it does set a different tone. That's not comedic in the least. It's genuinely ominous and kind of like, where are we gonna go with this? Zombies in the snow. Well, what have we seen with zombies in the snow? You've had the dead snow and the Nazi zombies in the snow. You've had that, and they're well, I'm gonna say they're great. They're not that great, but they're okay. They're reasonably enjoyable. Undead, and we Nazis as zombies. It's its own subgenre, and it does kind of work. And they're not too bad. But beyond that, hasn't been that many zombies in the snow, has there? I don't think so. Zombies, snow angels, it's not happening, is it really? but set at Christmas time as well during a blizzard. So you're gonna have Tarman, like, you know, sliming down the chimney. You know, there's a lot of things you could do here. Again, you've got a beleaguered bunch of people trapped by a blizzard, and then obviously beset by Trioxin reactivating the local living dead. Now, Steve Wolsh, his previous 3 films, Muck, Killer Goats, and Fog the City, or The City, The Fog, whatever it is, I've seen none of them, but none of them have got good reviews. None that I've seen. Really, in fact, naff reviews, to be honest with you. But they all seem to, looking at the synopsis, they all seem to have people trapped in a little environment where there's something else coming at them. They are trapped, they are isolated. So he's got a track record for this sort of thing anyway. And, you know, the thing about the undead and the living dead is it's always people who are trapped somewhere. Ramiro made a huge point about this, that we will be, you know, if it ever did transpire to take place, and the majority of the people around you became aggressors, you would have to hole up somewhere, so you would become isolated, and you have to make a fortress somewhere. So it's not that's not, oh, I was just doing the same old shit again. Well, it kind of is the way things would turn out. So I don't mind that at all. It's who the characters are, how they're described, how they're written, and how, of course, the actors perform the role. Now, those 3 prior movies of Steve Wolsh, everyone has come down on the fact that they were, you know, they were shit basically, and the writing was terrible. And Steve Wolsh writes, produces, and directs. He did that all 3 jobs on those 3 prior movies, and he's doing the same again on this. Oh, so there's a sting in the tail there, isn't it? Like, oh god. But as I said before, was he just trying to hone his skills with, I'm going to make, after this first movie, first or second movie, he was like, no, you've got the job for this. We're going to do Return of the Living Dead, a really big sort of rejig it. And he's like, I'm up for that, but I need to get more experience, so I'll make another couple of movies. Maybe that's why he rushed into it, just to try to, not to win accolades or win, you know, huge amounts of money and a fan base, but just train myself to direct and write and produce and become effective. Maybe that's what he's done. Maybe I you know, the jury's out on this one, isn't it? We've got another year to go, and we're going to find out a hell of a lot more. Obviously, the casting and all that, and it's going to be a cast of unknowns. Of course, it is. And let's face it. Half the cast of Return of the Living Dead were unknowns, but then you had the veterans, you know, which were great. You know, Don Calvert, James Karen, and Clu Gallagher, who are all outstanding, and they are great. You know, I'm sorry, I'm remembering quotes from those that triumvirate, and they are brilliant. So I don't know, folks. I think this could be great. It could be shit. From the teaser, it sets a very ominous, dark tone. And Christmas horror movies are great. There's so many of them. And it's weird that Christmas, the time of goodwill and festive cheer, should often lend itself to like blood-curdling mayhem and absolute sadism. But it does, and its legacy of Christmas ghost stories is really, you know, profound. You know, Charles Dickens, you know, with Ebenezer Scrooge and Christmas Carol, he's visited by ghosts, you know, and that set the template for Christmas time, you know. And there's a dark side to Christmas. You've had Halloween, but now you're into the depths of winter, and you're meant to be celebrating, but what about the ghosts of Christmas past, your relatives, you know, do you forget about them? We having your turkey and your spuds and your sprouts, and everyone loves sprouts. I don't want to hear otherwise. Sprouts are great. Sprouts are dead popular these days in designer restaurants and all that. All the big gourmet chefs are putting sprouts into things. Sprouts are fucking awesome. I've never disliked sprouts. I love them and they're great. You gotta smother them in gravy, obviously, like only a lot of sage and stuffing and all that. Like, oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. But sprouts in the UK, we've done. I've gone off the living dead onto sprouts. I can't believe I've done that. But anyway, but sprouts in the UK now, and we harvest a lot of sprouts in this country, which is why we've got to fight to protect our farmers. Because in this country, they're being denied a future. And big conglomerates could come in and take our lands. This Labour government. Farmers, without farmers, no food. No food, no future. That's the way it goes. And we have, especially down the southeast, a lot of sprout plantations. And they said, well, the sprouts nowadays, I don't know what they're doing to them. He said, they're sweeter. This is the guy that's got the biggest sort of conglomeration of sprout farmage. So like, look, our sprouts are the best. And like, sprouts are not like they were in the 70s and the 80s. They've got flavour to them. I like sprouts back then. They're fucking great. Just put them in gravy and they're full of flavour and vitamins and like, they're wonderful. Put a bit of Trioxin on them as well, like, wow. And if you choke on a sprout and you die, the Trioxin will bring you back to life. Brains, sprouts, gravy. So I don't know. Again, I'm always on about like remakes, reboots, prequels, sequels, sidequels, and normally I'm massively against them. Return of the Living Dead, the franchise. The first movie was great. The second one I thought was a kid-friendly version, and a lot of fans were out there. I've often told people, like, I prefer the second one, and I'm like, you fucking kidding me? The third one, where she's piercing herself to stop her bloodlust, you know, to kill anyone, and it's quite. I forgot the girl's name, and she is gorgeous, but my God, and there's some great gore in it as well, and she's putting stuff through, and it's a really dark, perverse sort of story. Then you got 3, 4, and fucking then that last one, Rape from the Grave and Necropolis, and they're fucking absolute wank. But what I love about this movie is, and I should have said this at the start maybe, because people have tuned out by now after my waffle about sprouts. Tony Gardner did the effects, the makeup effects for the first movie, and he's back on board for this movie. And Steve Wolsh, despite what we know of his previous movies, he has sworn, look, there's no CG, there's no green screens, it's all sets that have been built and real, well, snow, it's practical snow that we've blown in there. So it's all real. No green screen, no CG. That's worth repeating. It's all practical effects. Well, we should applaud that. CG effects and green screen are great in zombie apocalypse movies when you're going to show a huge city vista. You can't shut down an entire city and hire tens of thousands of extras. George Romero could have done that, because everyone would turn up for a George Romero zombie movie and just be paid in hot dogs. Don't pay me. I'll hot dog with a burger. But you can't do that now. You can't show a city, a huge environment being overrun by gazillions of the undead. It would have to be done by CG. So again, smaller movies like this where you could have seemingly hundreds of zombies. Look at Aliens. Aliens has 6 people. Let's get that right. 6 6 people in their xenomorph costumes. And yet when you watch the film, you genuinely think, oh my god, there's hordes of them coming at you. There's never more on screen than 6 people in xenomorph suit costumes. And it still works. So in a zombie movie, you've got people besieged in an environment, and they're coming through. You get lots of fists and things coming through windows, and doors being pushed down, and a few coming through. You don't have to have hundreds of people dressed as zombies. You don't have to have CGI to make, oh god, gazillions of them. That only works for a large screen sort of effect. To make it more intimate, just get as many people as you can to dress up in rags and, you know, and salivate and just shout brains, you know, and then come storming at your beleaguered and diminishing cast, and then you're alright. I'm not writing this off at all. I think this, from that teaser, if that's the tone, it doesn't have any comedy. If it does, it's like, are you dragging a Christmas tree? Is that meant to be funny? It's kind of a bit oeuvre. It's a little bit seasonally, you know, I don't know, Blackly comic, perhaps. But I liked it. And the Silent Night, let's play it again, because it's so fucking horrible. That's a whole new dimension. Blood on Snow is always there. You can hear from this that's not comedic. And it's like ensnared around him, you know, the Christmas tree. If this turns out to be a full-on comedy, I will be disappointed. Eternal Living Dead got that balance right. When the yellow cadaver breaks out, you know, and they've got to put a pickaxe through, and you got James Harry going, oh Jesus Christ, you know, oh Bear, just do it, Bear, just, oh Frank, just do it, you know. And you got Freddy, Tom Matthews opens the door, and it goes straight for, you know, Clu Gallagher. I'm like, oh my god, ah! And then they put the pickaxe through its skull. You said he'd kill the brain and he'd be dead. And it's like, well, they work in the movies. You know? And they start sewing through its neck, and the fucking body gets up and runs around. And they're like, ah! It's Carry On Screaming to the next level, where it's grisly and nasty, but it's still hilarious. Cramps. This is one of my favourite stupid ass songs of all time, and it so goes well with this movie. I would like to think there'd be a homage to the soundtrack from the original movie. There's so many other great groups that are on it as well. Would you bring in, I would think there'd be some kind of reference to alternative characters in society. I've just thought the bad side of that. You got punks, you may have skinheads, you may have this, that and the other in there. It is still 1985. It's set in 1985. Christmas time 85. So punks. You could have some Depeche Mode on the soundtrack. Which reminds me, there is a review coming up very soon of a film which does feature a Depeche Mode classic song. I ain't saying no. And it features a huge, we all love it, big boobed, massively sexy scream queen from the 60s and the 70s. Ooh. And into the 80s too, including this movie I'm talking about. Those can be a guess at the end, yeah. So will the new movie, Return of the Living Dead, feature a musical track, a soundtrack which is going to have, you know, music of the era? Would you have Madonna in there? Duran Duran, maybe? Nick Kershaw? It could be fucking great. It could be great. It could be utter shit. We've got an entire year. An entire year. This is Christmas 2024, and it's gonna come out Christmas 2025. They haven't fucking made it yet. You know what I think as well? The promise about like there'll be no green screen, there'll be no CG. Will that really be the case? What's your budget? No one knows. Fucking genius. We think you should. And would there be cameos in there? Would you get any of the original cast? They could do that. They haven't said so, but they could do that. Linnea Quigley is still, you know, well, she's on the fan circuit a lot. And she has done many, many more movies since those days. Although, I bet they're down to her fucking ankles by now, but yeah. Maria Conchita Alonso. Oh, God, from Predator, Colours, so many others. Sorry, Predator 2, Colours, and Running Man. Oh, God, she was my 80s babe. And, of course, Barbara Crampton from Reanimator, From Beyond. A friend of mine on Facebook and looks truly astonishingly gorgeous. She has not aged a day from Reanimator. Not aged a day. She looks incredible. It's what the hell? That serum, that fucking Dayglow green serum pumped into it, and she is now just, she won't age. She is the living beauty. Anyway, folks, Return of the Living Dead is coming back. It's returning, and Tarman is in there. He's in the other movies as well. He plays a little bit in the other movies, but without a doubt, it's the way that he slithers in, brains, and the way he comes in, and they go, fuck off, stick his head out of the baseball. It's just outstanding, and the way he slithers and slimes, it's, Alan Troutman was just incredible there. Did you know they changed the voice from the cinematic print to the home video print? In the cinema print, his voice is much more high pitched. Brains. It's almost like it's kind of mad professor. And then in the home video, it's like brains. And they changed the voice. A lot of things happened to the home video version of Eternal Event. Is copyright on music really affected things. Some songs got changed and revamped, and that's what happens, folks. But hopefully this will have its own proper score, and there'll be some songs in there too. If you're gonna do a revamp, reboot, it's ignoring all the sequels. It's just another story set in a different town, another outbreak 18 months later. But if you're going to keep in vogue with Return of the Living Dead, then you have to try and keep that tone, that balance of horror comedy and put the music in there, because that's what made the first film. If you got in a different direction entirely, it could be a great film, but it won't be what the fans are expecting or perhaps wanting. Anyway, we shall see, folks. We shall see. Got another year to go. Right, folks, I'm out of here. In the meantime, and it's ever like, let's just let the dead come back and let's see what they want to do. According to these movies, what they're going to do is party in between time. Please keep it Celtic, keep it Celtic. I'm going to see you all. And yeah, you may have guessed that I had been drinking before this. I don't drink in the hizzy anymore, so I drink outside the hizzy. And I get very drunk outside the hizzy, and then I come back and go, oh, I've got to do a video. Oh, fucking hell. What am I going to do now? So Tony Garner, just thinking now. Tony Garner's doing the effects again, and I think I've covered everything. Yeah, I have. There is a review coming very soon, and it's a huge, and I mean fucking huge unboxing. Unless that box has got one thing inside it, in which case, well, it's a one thing unboxing, but it's massive. This crate is huge and heavy. I suspect there's a lot in there. I've got no idea. That'll be coming probably next, if I'm honest with you, because I can't wait to open it. So anyway, folks, be happy, be healthy, be festive. It's Christmas time, and there's no need to be afraid unless you've got Tarman dragging a Christmas tree from your local cemetery towards your house. And in my case, our local cemetery is literally 20 yards, 30, 40 yards behind us is our boundary wall, end of our garden, and then you've got the cemetery and all the graves. You guys know this, I've filmed in there. That cemetery is very historic. We've got tons and tons and tons and tons of really bizarre people in there. I ain't so saying they stay settled all night, every night. I think they gets up for a rumble now and again. So yeah, if you lived in a cemetery, these films really have a bit of a, I don't know, a different sort of feel to you, because you're like, you're watching, you go, shit, they're just outside here. The corpses. The corpses! It was the corpses, I tell ya! Living Dead at Manchester Morgue, 1974, George Grau, Spanish, Italian, German, Spanish, said Spanish twice, German, Austrian, fucking everyone got involved in the making of that movie, and it all shot in England, but my God, a couple of scenes in Italy and Spain, in interior studios, but the film is magnificent. It's one of the best zombie movies. I have reviewed it on the channel, The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue. But it has about 30 different titles as well. Anyway, folks, I've waffled on, as is my wont, for long enough. So I'm gonna leave it there, because I've got an urgent pickup at the Oneida Medical Depository. I don't know what I'm picking up. Just some loose limbs, you know, let's see what they get up to. Can't go wrong with a few of these crawling bits and bobs, can you? You know? You can always use them for your own